I have a lot on her, including details of a conversation Debbie Antonelli had with her earlier in the week. Plus, we'll look back to Thursday, a scarlet night to remember for Rutgers, and we'll discuss the best players in the nation. You know, Candace Parker is going to be on Kara's list of favorites. So a lot of candidates for the Wade Trophy, including Courtney Paris, who we will check out in Game 2 as we get set for action here in Norman, Oklahoma. And the Lady Bulldogs against the Scarlet Knights. And you know, Andy Landers, who was just inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, you see 22-5 in season openers, and he likes to push his team.
Oh, he does, and he demands excellence. And what you know you're going to get from a Georgia team is a team that plays hard, that gets up and down the floor, and likes to get after it on the defensive end.
And as far as Vivian Stringer, a Hall of Famer back in 2001, you see over 700 wins, and what an amazing career she's had.
Well, she really has, and Rutgers sometimes underrated in the national scheme, but Vivian Stringer has done a tremendous job uplifting this program, and they will be another force to be reckoned with this year.
And defense a hallmark for Rutgers, correct?
Well, they are. They get after it and defend, and Vivian Stringer, that's the hallmark of her program.
It'll be Kia Vaughn for Rutgers, Rebecca Rousey jumping for Georgia. And Rutgers wins the tap. And the Bulldogs wearing the white, Rutgers wearing the red. This is Katie Adams with the basketball. Heather Zurich struggling with it a little bit, and now Essence Carson. Vivian Stringer having Essence Carson handle the ball a lot. She'll run the point, normally a 3 or a 4.
Well, she says that Essence Carson has the ability to settle down her team offensively. And that's what she likes about her, and that's why she put her at the point guard position.
Heather Zurich. Nice shot right there from deep. Ashley Houts, the freshman. How about that?
Not a bad way to start your career if you're Ashley Houts. You see Georgia starting off in the 2-3 zone. Good move, I think, by Andy Landers. You have 7 players. You don't have a lot of depth. You want to be able to save some of your players and not have them work too hard on the defensive end.
They're going to try and get it into Kia Vaughn. Couldn't do it that time. A turnover. And here come the Lady Bulldogs. Janice Hardrick handling the ball. Hardrick right here swings to Houts. And a kick out. That's Hardrick. And she knocks down the triple. 6-0. Georgia on top.
Well, the thing you have with Georgia guards, with Janice Hardrick, Corey Chambers, and Ashley Houts, the ability to knock down the open shot. You have to find out. Rutgers point guard Ashley Houts doing a tremendous job of driving in and kicking to Janice Hardrick for the open shot.
Rutgers trailing early. Essence Carson, top of the key, trying to get into the lane. Scoop shot. That's no good. And the rebound pulled down by Georgia. Ashley Houts, the freshman from Trenton, Georgia. Toss inside, Rousey kicks out. Now Hardrick. And 3 seconds called, it'll go the other way.
You see Ashley Houts, the freshman point guard, does a nice job of drawing in the defender, and Janice Hardrick. She's a player for Georgia that needs to step up this year, not only with scoring, but with her consistency.
Now, speaking of freshmen, Epiphany Prince has checked into the game. This is her with the ball top of the key. And Maya McCurdy, an outstanding freshman as well. Carson kicks to Prince. 3 for her. Off the mark. And pulling down the board, Megan Dara. Nice steal there by Prince, pushing ahead. And the freshman kicks to another freshman, McCurdy. Layup no good. Rutgers garners the rebound, feed underneath. And Prince can't get it to go, gets her own board. And a scramble underneath the foul. And a lot of hard work right there by Epiphany Prince, the little one, going underneath.
Well, a great job by Epiphany Prince, really extending that Rutgers pressure defensively. Getting after it, steals the ball from fellow freshman Ashley Houts, and then just working at it. Offensive rebound after offensive rebound. And the one thing we know we're going to get from Epiphany Prince when she comes in the game is instant offense. That's the one thing that we knew she could do coming out of high school. She can score the basketball.
Yeah, Prince knocks down the free throw, the three-point play. Epiphany Prince, 113 points in a high school game, a national record. More on that later. Another three, that's Corey Chambers. 3 threes from 3 different players.
Well, when you extend full court pressure like you did, like Rutgers did there, you open yourself up for quick strike opportunities, and that's what Georgia took advantage of.
Prince with the basketball. Now Essence Carson. Carson towards the corner as Brittany Ray gets the touch. And that's Kia Vaughn. The fadeaway jumper no good. Maya McCurdy with the putback, and the freshman scores to make it a 9-5 game.
Well, this is something I thought we'd see from Rutgers early on. You have a freshman point guard starting her first game of her collegiate career. Extend the pressure. Make her a decision maker early on. Try to get some easy opportunities.
Heydrich pushing ahead right into the lane, and they're going to call a jump ball. It'll be jump ball. It'll stay Georgia possession, so the Lady Bulldogs will hang on to it.
Janice Heydrich right there. Andy Landers worked on breaking the pressure of Rutgers. As you see, the fourth player from Georgia, Megan Dara, hit another three. But he talked about beating the pressure, and he said you have to go by people. You can't just pass or dribble around in one place. Get by them with speed, attack the basket.
So far, Vivian Stringer's defense hasn't had answers on the perimeter. Carson swings Ray. Three-pointer. No good. Vaughn fights for it, and the putback. Kia Vaughn, the 6'4" sophomore from the Bronx. And she will be a force to be reckoned with today for the Lady Bulldogs. Do they have an answer for her?
Well, I'm not sure that Georgia does. And the thing that I want to do if I'm Rutgers, you see settling for jump shots. Epiphany Prince takes the three. Brittany Ray takes an early three. Get the ball inside to Kia Vaughn and Maya McCurdy. They've done a good job on putbacks, and they can really use their athleticism to beat the Georgia defensive players.
Saw the hustle there by Essence Carson. First time out here. Coming up, Georgia missing one of the best players in the country. Tasha Humphrey serving a suspension. More on her situation, including Debbie Antonelli's conversation with her.
The NBA on ESPN. Tonight at 8 Eastern.
I talk. I swing. I hit.
I fly. And I throw. Like a girl. At State Farm, we've always believed in the spirit of the female athlete. That's why we're committed to supporting women's athletics.
Marshall's Law number 131. We can't drop names, but we can drop their prices. Get the same designer fashions you'd find in department stores for up to half off every day. Saving has never been so stylish. That's Marshall's Law.
Technology has made your morning easier. Why not your shave? The Philips Norelco Smart Touch XL is designed to shave more, with 3 shaving rings in each shaving head. And it stays on your neck, so even tricky hairs are cut. Simplicity is making every stroke count.
Subway Restaurants has 8 delicious sandwiches with 6 grams of fat or less. At McDonald's, they have a great selection of sandwiches too. But if you get rid of everything with more than 6 grams of fat, you're not left with much. Not much at all. Subway. Eat fresh.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and Mom didn't know that Dad's right behind her with a box and a bow.
A gift from Kay Jewelers means every diamond is hand-selected to match beautifully, and she'll absolutely love it.
Every kiss begins with Kay.
Back here in Norman, Georgia leads by 5. Let's join the third member of our crew. Here's Debbie Antonelli. Debbie?
Well, thanks a lot, John. Well, you already mentioned that Tasha Humphrey is not here. She's serving the first of a 6-game suspension for an alcohol-related arrest. Well, Andy Landers says a severe penalty deserves a severe fine, and that's exactly what he's served out to Tasha Humphrey.
I think that 6 games is appropriate, so I encompass that into our 6 games. I don't think one game gets a young person's attention. I think one game makes a statement that somebody need to do something, and here it is. You know, it doesn't make a statement that it's wrong. We made a terrible mistake, and we're going to pay a price for that mistake. I think 6 games sends that message.
Well, I talked to Tasha Humphrey this week by telephone, and she really regrets a poor decision that hurt herself and her team. She wants to earn the trust of the coaching staff back, which includes her mother and her teammates. On top of the suspension, Landers made Tasha Humphrey do some community service. She sat from 10 o'clock to 2 a.m. in a local hospital's emergency room to watch people coming into the ER with various injuries and illnesses, some alcohol-related. A little ER rehab, if you will. Humphrey says she does not plan on making the same mistake twice.
Well, there you go. So Georgia shorthanded today. Andy Landers dressing just 7 players here this afternoon. We'll keep our eye on that. Essence Carson into the front court for Georgia. Brittany Ray handles. And McCurdy swings to fellow freshman Prince. A 3 for Ray. Got it. It's 12-10. And again, Georgia applying the pressure. Foul there. Epiphany Prince charged with her first. So a couple of freshmen squaring off. Rutgers with an outstanding clash, and Ashley Houts starting her first college game. What was your first college game like?
Not very good. It was a loss, but I remember being a little bit nervous in my first college game, and once you get out there playing the competition, I think one thing that might help Ashley Houts and Epiphany Prince here and going against each other is that they know they're going against the fellow freshmen, so they probably feel like the other player on the other side has jitters as well.
Georgia by 2. Lady Bulldogs having trouble taking care of the ball, and that's certainly in part due to the pressure by Rutgers. There's a 3 left side by Carson. They're going to call it a 2 for Essence Carson. And again, the pressure. Megan Dara, a deflection by Prince, but Hardrick, the senior, handles. Dara finds out. 15 of the shot clock. Good feed down low to Angel Robinson, but a turnover and pushing the other way, Carson. Hardrick comes up with a steal. A 3-on-1. Feed to Houts in the foul, and Epiphany Prince will pick up her second.
Janice Hardrick, Georgia going to its own trapping defense there in the corner, and Janice Hardrick, who can be pretty dynamic in the open court, finds Ashley Houts. The nice head fake to get Epiphany Prince to foul her, and this is a player that Andy Landers is very high on. He talked about freshmen coming in and how they're, well, a lot of players ranked higher than Ashley Houts or were poised maybe to have a better year, some people thought, but he loves this kid, and he says he'll go through 25 minutes of practice, and this kid never takes a turn out. She never looks for a sub. She's relished the role of being the point guard and being the everyday player for this team and a leader. And as a freshman, that's tough to do, to come into a program like Georgia and really assert yourself as a leader.
And they need her today. A 14-12 Georgia lead. Handling the ball, Dee Dee Jernigan, a fellow freshman. And Vaughn loses the handle right there, but it'll stay Rutgers basketball.
Anytime that Rutgers is passing around the perimeter, you'll see Kia Vaughn, Georgia doing a good job of fronting her, not letting her get the ball. For Georgia to get the ball inside, right there, John, penetrate, draw some defense in the zone, and then you'll be able to find some openings for Kia Vaughn to score.
Carson finds Ray for a deep 3. Good rebound by Essence Carson off the glass, and we're tied.
The last 2 plays on the offensive end for Essence Carson, they'll really show her true versatility. Hitting the mid-range jumper and then going up, getting the offensive rebound. Tremendous athlete.
Ray on Hardrick. Dara tosses off Christy Marshall, back to Dara. And the jump shot there rattles in for Angel Robinson. The redshirt freshman from Marietta, Georgia. Rutgers ranked number 11 in preseason polls. The Lady Bulldogs number 9. Baseline jumper for Ray, and that one goes down.
Well, Brittany Ray not shy at all in terms of taking shots, and Vivian Stringer has a team with no seniors. This is a very young team, and Rutgers has been pretty guard-oriented when it comes to scoring. But now I think some of their strength, a lot of their strength is going to be in the post this year, so a little bit different, but a potent offensive team, even more so than I think what Vivian Stringer's had in recent years.
And she's got to trust the freshmen. She's already playing them a lot. We've seen Ray, McCurdy, Prince, and Jernigan. Almost a turnover. Hardrick for the Bulldogs. And a feed down low. Robinson the pump fake. Good block there. And it'll stay Georgia basketball.
When you watch Rutgers play and you watch their defense, there's two things that come to mind. One, it's their length. Their length. They really surprise you, and it's their activity with that length. You'll see tip balls, you'll see strips, you'll see blocks. And that's one of the things that makes them the premier defensive program in the country.
Jernigan on Houts. Hardrick got the three. The three-point line has been a factor in this one. An experimental rule in the Tip-Off Classic where the line has moved back 9 inches, not bothering Georgia. Jernigan, she gets a triple. How about the freshman for Rutgers making an impact? Dee Jernigan from East Chicago, Indiana. And Jernigan right there bumping Houts and a block call. Corey Chambers will check back in. Hardrick will take a seat. See the senior taking a seat. Tied at 19, closing it on 12 minutes to go. Corey Chambers kicks out to Houts. Foul line jumper good for Angel Robinson.
Well, that's the second time she's hit that free throw line jumper, and that's such a special skill to have as a 6'5" player. If you have a player that can hit the high post, and with her size, Angel Robinson score on the block, I mean, that's a great asset for Andy Landers to have.
Air ball from the freshman Jernigan. And we'll take a timeout on the court. Georgia making an impact, especially from beyond the stripe. The Lady Bulldogs 5 for 5 from 3, and they lead it by 2.
In the shadows, you challenge yourself. In the spotlight, you challenge others. You know what it takes to be number one. At State Farm, so do we.
Hey guys.
Stand up.
We have a little announcement to make. We both
He went to Jared.
Oh, he went to Jared.
He went to Jared.
He went to Jared?
He went to Jared?
Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry, has 5 times the selection of ordinary jewelry stores, from the classic to the contemporary, so you'll find the perfect ring.
You went to Jared.
I know. He went to Jared. Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry.
The Philips HD Flat TV with Ambilight is the only flat TV with the power to transform a mood at the touch of a button. Simplicity is a button that transforms television.
The State Farm Women's Tip-Off Classic, to benefit the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, is brought to you by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And in part by Marshall's. We can't drop names, but we can drop their prices. That's Marshall's Law.
Back here in Norman, Oklahoma, the Lady Bulldogs lead it by 2. Let's go over to Debbie Antonelli. Debbie.
Well, John, if you're going to play at this level and be a post player, you have to have great footwork and you have to have good hands. These gloves belong to the 6'5" redshirt freshman Angel Robinson. The last 3 days, she's been wearing them in practice. What Andy Landers did is took a pair of gloves, cut the finger holes out, made Robinson wear them every day in practice to try to help her work on her focus and her concentration in catching the ball. Well, guess what? Now they're called the Magic Gloves, and we will probably see Robinson wearing these a lot during practice through the course of the season.
She's looked good shooting that foul line jumper.
Well, she has looked good catching the basketball. And Andy Landers getting the glove from Walmart, like the creativity, cutting the fingers off with the scissors. He said, I couldn't figure out if it was her concentration or if it was her hands. So I got her the gloves to help her catch the ball better during practice, and so far it's worked.
Georgia leading by 2. And they find Robinson. Kicks nicely to Dara, and her jumper is good. Georgia by 4.
Basket by Dara.
Feed down low. Vaughn looking for space. Scott, nice shot by Kia Vaughn, and it's a 2-point game.
Well, I really like Kia Vaughn's game, and watching practice yesterday, I love her leadership. She's so vocal out on the court, and Vivian Stringer said it's been different for her. Usually her leaders have been guards, and so it's different for a center to be the most vocal player out there, but she's ready to take over the leadership of this team and be a go-to player.
Good defense by Vaughn on Robinson. It'll go Rutgers in the other way. Now, one of the things with Kia Vaughn is they try and establish her down low. Did a great job getting in shape this offseason. A travel called. Kia Vaughn has looked sharp so far here this afternoon.
Well, you see, watching her post, and it's very hard as a guard not to give a post player the ball that works for it so hard, showing the nice mid-range game. Kia Vaughn, she does it on both ends. Undersized by about 2 inches to Angel Robinson. She uses her body, being physical, keeps her hands straight up, and forces a bad shot by the freshman.
Lost 43 pounds going into this season, determined to get herself fit. Little runner there by Dara, no good. Essence Carson will push for Rutgers. Pulls up for the jumper. It'll be Georgia the other way. Corey Chambers will be focused in our Star Watch. And Ashley Houts. 3 rattles off Vaughn with the board. Another one of those prized freshmen, Dee Jernigan handling. Wanders in, and it's an offensive foul. Good job by their Chambers establishing position.
Well, it really was, and that's one of the things that you talk about in dealing with freshmen. As you see Vivian Stringer shaking her head. Dee Jernigan, she's aggressive, and you like the fact that she wants to score on the offensive end, but there's also a time and place for attacking, and that's what you have to teach freshmen, and that's what Vivian Stringer, I'm sure, is doing this year. A young team, and so she's going to be scratching her heads at times throughout the career, but they're talented, and they can really be a big lift for this team.
Rutgers was 27-5 a season ago, perfect in the Big East, 16-0, and you can be sure that they miss the Big East Player of the Year, Cappy Pondexter, who was the 2nd overall pick in the WNBA draft.
Well, Cappy Pondexter, I mean, just a National Player of the Year type ability, and this is a Rutgers team that has struggled in years past offensively. John, they only scored 63 points. You see Ashley House getting into the lane, the nice dribble drive and score, but they only scored 63 points a game last year. Cappy Pondexter, 21 of those 63, so they have a huge scoring void to fill.
Katie Adams is checked in. This is Adams with the ball. Zurich feeds in. Kia Vaughn is fouled. For more on Cappy Pondexter, let's head over to Debbie.
Well, guys, I had a chance to talk to Cappy this week as well from Turkey, where she's over there playing professional basketball. She said the thing that Vivian Stringer taught her the most about her time at Rutgers is that it's 95% mental, and it certainly helped her prepare for her game at the next level. And you talked about her 21 points last year at Rutgers, Kara, a third of the offense. Well, she averaged nearly 20 points a game in the WNBA, 4th in the league in scoring. So she certainly was capable of taking her game to the next level.
Well, she was, Debbie, and playing against Cappy in her rookie year in the WNBA. I mean, this is a special talent. She's one of those players that can get any shot that she wants almost at any time, and Vivian Stringer talked about replacing a money player, a player that hits big shots in the big moments.
Houts handling the basketball, Georgia by 2. 3 from Dara's no good. Rutgers the rebound. Ray pushing ahead Carson. Zurich back to Carson, and the feed to Vaughn. Georgia basketball. This is Christy Marshall behind the back. Under 9 minutes to go first half. It is the State Farm Women's Tip-Off Classic here in Norman, Oklahoma. Shot clock down to 10. Marshall feeds over to Chambers, who's harassed by Carson. It'll stay Georgia ball with 5 on the shot clock.
One of the things I think Georgia needs to be wary of here on the offensive end is not settling for too many three-point shots. That's hard when you make them early in the game. Sometimes that's fool's gold, and you get away from getting the ball inside and penetrating.
Lob down low. Rousey with good position. Has it blocked. Kia Vaughn down low, establishing her presence. Katie Adams almost a steal by Houts. And the jumper is good. It's a 2 for Essence Carson.
Well, that just shows you the impact that Kia Vaughn has on that team. The defensive play, a lot of times great defensive plays leads to a scoring bucket for your team. Essence Carson's with a nice jumper.
So a good game so far. We're tied at 25. And a turnover, and Rutgers the other way. Carson spinning into the lane, gets her own rebound, pump fake, gets the layup. Essence Carson and Rutgers with the lead.
Wow, is she dynamic. That kid can do it all on the defensive end, the offensive end. And if Essence Carson is knocking down her jump shot, you're going to have a long night trying to defend her.
First lead of the game by Rutgers, and now we're tied. Scoop shot by Rousey, nicely done. Rebecca Rousey from Henderson, Tennessee, the 6'3" junior who missed last year with a torn ACL. Tied at 27. This game, one of our doubleheader. It'll be number 3 Oklahoma against number 19 DePaul in game 2. Vaughn into the lane. And the rebound goes to Georgia, pushing ahead. Marshall into the lane, no good. Under 8 timeout, tied at 27, but a good one so far here in Norman, Oklahoma.
At the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, we celebrate the heritage of the game and inspire future leaders to be their best.
Here at the State Farm Tip-Off Classic, they have assembled a tremendous field.
Look out, we might have a new star in college basketball.
Great players. They're the reason why coaches get to be Hall of Famers.
Be named to the Hall of Fame. That is something that endures.
ESPN Shop has authentic gifts for everyone on your holiday roster, from clothes to cleats and everything in between. You want it? We've got it. Purchase a gift card or shop from the comfort of your own home this holiday season at ESPN Shop. Real gear for real fans. Go to ESPNshop.com or call 1-800-762-1701 for a free catalog.
Why can the sharpest knives cut through anything? The secret is in the steel. And now, the Gin 5 steel technology that creates the sharpest knives has been forged into a razor. Introducing the Infinity Razor. With blades so sharp and so strong, it's guaranteed for life. The blades use advanced Gin 5 steel technology. This is the last razor you ever have to buy. Shave kissably smooth, shave after shave. Call now and your Infinity Razor is only $14.95 with a lifetime replacement guarantee. Plus, if you don't love it, we'll refund the purchase price and send you 3 blades for your favorite leading brand razor. You'll also get 6 Infinity Aromatherapy shave gels, a $15 value free. Plus, if you call right now, you'll also receive this razor sharp 7-inch carving knife forged with Gin 5 steel, a $30 value free. Shave closer for life, guaranteed.
Call 1-800-951-0596.
Back here at the State Farm Women's Tip-Off Classic, Georgia and Rutgers tied at 27. Be sure to keep it right here on ESPN2 for the second game of our doubleheader. Number 19 DePaul taking on Courtney Paris, and number 3 Oklahoma. ESPN, your exclusive home to the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship. Well, Kara, you look at the Bulldogs, and they have stayed in this game because of their work from 3.
Well, they have, and early on showing the ability to beat the Rutgers press and These guys can shoot the basketball. If I'm Rutgers defenders, especially out of transition, I have to find shooters and know where they are all. And the tough thing about Georgia is that they have 4 players, not just their perimeter players, but Megan Dare is a converted perimeter player playing the 4 positions, so she can knock down the 3 as well. So that makes it hard when you're coming out of transition and trying to find those shooters. But tremendous job by the freshman Ashley Houts and really organizing that attack for Georgia on the offensive end.
Christy Marshall rattles in the first free throw. The other thing for Vivian Stringer, it can't have snuck up on her that Georgia's going to shoot a lot of threes, because last year they were outstanding from there as well.
Well, last year they were outstanding, and also not having the inside presence of Tasha Humphrey. I mean, Georgia has to rely on the three-point shot today, I think, in order to win this ball game, because they don't have that stellar inside presence.
Kia Vaughn riding the bike, staying loose as her Rutgers team trails by 2. Katie Adams handling. Brittany Ray deals to Carson. Ray again, deep 3. Banks it in. And it's a 1-point Rutgers lead. Well, Brittany Ray, another of the outstanding freshmen for Vivian Stringer. She's got 8. Hardrick, the senior, being harassed by Ray. And now Marshall tosses to Darren. Rousey going to work. Deep 3 there, and it's knocked down by Corey Chambers.
Well, if I'm Essence Carson there on the defensive end, you got to get your hands up, contest that shot. Corey Chambers set the single season record for Georgia last year in 3-pointers made. You got to know that she's a player that wants to shoot it when she's out there on the perimeter.
For Vivian Stringer's group, defense first, 10 of 16 is not going to make her happy. 8 on the shot clock. Ray to Carson. Now 5 on the shot clock. Not sure if she sees it. 2. Carson off balance shot at the buzzer. Got it.
Wow. And that's just shot-making capability. When you have a player that can do that, when the shot clock going down, that's what Cappy Pondexter brought to this Rutgers team this year. Essence Carson, the likely replacement for her in terms of making big shots for the team.
Weak side rebound for Carson. Pushing ahead, Katie Adams. Mid-range jumper rattles in. This a back and forth affair. Closing in on 5 minutes to go in the first half. Georgia swinging the basketball. Rousey handles. And now right side, Janice Hardrick. Marshall the jumper. And with the air ball, it'll be Rutgers basketball. Here at the Women's State Farm Tip-Off Classic. Georgia and Rutgers at the Lloyd Noble Center in Norman, Oklahoma. John Shelby, Carol Lawson, Debbie Antonelli, and we'll be back with more college basketball. Andy Landers and Vivian Stringer, the Hall of Famers, squaring off.
My brother started selling auto insurance. I got a little pressure to use them.
A little? I'm State Farm Agent Amy Kaplan, and this is a true story.
I didn't pressure you. I think blood is thicker than water.
So is some of his staff. We switched from State Farm to him.
The service is horrible.
Well, he wouldn't call me back, and he's my brother.
So I called him, and he was ready to switch back.
State Farm treated us like family.
Yeah, better.
Great service and great rates. It's all here. Nobody takes care of you like State Farm. Call an agent today.
Like a good neighbor?
State Farm is there.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and Mom didn't know that Dad's right behind her with a box and a bow.
This Christmas, tell her she's the greatest chapter in your life story with a gift from K Jewelers 3-Stone Diamond Collection. And you can be assured of 2 things. Every diamond is hand-selected to match beautifully, and she'll absolutely love it.
But I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight.
Oh.
Back here in Oklahoma, Rutgers leading by 4 after the bucket by Rashida Junaid. So all the freshmen for Vivian Stringer making an impact thus far. Rebound down low, and it goes off Rutgers. It'll stay Georgia ball. Substitution is Ashley Houts, the freshman. Will check back in for Andy Landers again. He's only got 7 players dressed. They are without their best player, Tasha Humphrey. And now a timeout called by Vivian Stringer. And the other thing, besides Tasha Humphrey, coming up, they're going to get Maria Taylor, a volleyball player, back. Georgia will. So they will fortify themselves as the season goes on. Rutgers by 4. College basketball action on ESPN2 tomorrow night starting at 7 Eastern. The CBE Classic Regional Final from Durham, North Carolina, is the winner advances to the semifinals in Kansas City to face the winner of the Palo Alto Regional. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
Well, you talk about Andy Landers and his thin lineup, and not only does he not have a star player, but he also has players in the rotation right now that were played with injuries either last year in the offseason, and then also some freshmen. He said this is the worst conditioned Georgia team that I've ever had coming out of the gates, and it's because of the injuries and also trying to mesh that with young players and freshmen.
They have a freshman, Jaleesa Roden, who's recovering from ACL surgery. They're not sure if she is going to play this year. A foul right there, and nice work underneath by Angel Robinson. She'll have a chance to go to the line and make the three-point play.
She's a player that needs to give them a lift on the inside. Interior scoring, we talked about Georgia can't rely on just threes, and nice post move there. And this is a player I think that's going to really improve exponentially as the season goes along. It's her first college game because she sits out last year and tears her knee. And this is a player with tremendous potential. And Andy Landers said this is the lightest feet of any post player that I've coached. And that's saying a lot of how long Andy Landers has been at Georgia.
Can knock down the free throw. Robinson missed last year with a torn ACL. That's been an unbelievable problem that they've had with the Lady Bulldogs. Just bad luck. Houts with the steal. The freshman waits for some help. Rousey back to Houts. Right side, Hardrick. Rutgers by 2. Hardrick. Robinson working on the freshman. Rousey fighting for the rebound. Houts leaning in, and the little 5'6" freshman gets the flare.
Well, that's a great job by Rebecca Rousey. Just keeping the basketball alive enough to get it into the hands of Ashley Houts, who makes another great play.
Heather Zurich to Katie Adams. And a 3 is off the mark for Katie Adams. It'll go Georgia basketball. Under 4 timeout. Georgia short-handed, but they got some help from the freshman. Ashley Houts fighting on the baseline. She's got 9 points, including this leader, and we're tied at 36.
Jimmy?
Steve?
The Hyundai Azera. It shatters preconceptions. It defies assumptions. And with 8 airbags, a 263 horsepower V6, plus more interior space than a BMW 760i. It's a whole new take on luxury. And the repercussions are just beginning. The Hyundai Azera, ranked most appealing large car by J.D. Power and Associates.
In the west of Puerto Rico, there's a different state of mind. Explore the towns, the moods, the sunsets of the state of mind called Porta del Sol.
Scott Reese back in the studio. Good to have Stacey Dales back for another season of college basketball. And you know who else is back? Maryland, the defending champs, and it's pretty much the same team we saw a year ago.
Yeah, but they don't feel like they're defending a championship. They're getting better, and I'm going to tell you guys why at the half.
We'll talk much more at halftime. Also, Army's set to honor late head coach Maggie Dixon today. It's all coming up in just a few minutes, but for now, we send it back to John and Kara.
All right, Scott, thanks very much. Speaking of all their starters back at Game 2 of our doubleheader, Oklahoma, the number 3 team in the country, they feature all their starters back. 4 seniors, but all eyes will be on the sophomore.
Yeah, Oklahoma, they feature Courtney Parrish. And tremendous freshman season, probably the best freshman season from a statistical standpoint of any player that's played. And I mean, I think everyone's anxious to see what Sherry Cole's bunch has in store for this year and how Courtney Parrish has improved.
There's the top 25, and we get a look at Oklahoma. You see Georgia number 9, Rutgers just outside at number 11 in the preseason. That three-pointer rattles in. How about Ashley Houts, the freshman, with 12, and knocks down her second triple of the game.
Well, you just keep questioning yourself. Can Georgia keep this hot shooting up? And throughout the first half, they've done it.
Ray tries to answer. She can't. Hardrick, deflection, pushing ahead. And a foul call. Brittany Ray will be charged with this. The senior Hardrick goes to the deck.
Rutgers now charged to number 35, Brittany Ray. 2 shots. It's her second foul in the team 7.
Ray charged with her second foul. Hardrick to the line.
Number 14, Janice Hardrick.
Janice Hardrick is a player that's really had an inconsistent career thus far at Georgia. Had a tremendous freshman season and then it's kind of plagued by some injuries in her sophomore and junior year. This is a player that Georgia needs to have a consistent senior year. She has to come to play every day in practice, every game for this team to be successful. As a senior, she needs that urgency.
Last year averaged just under 9 points a game for Andy Landers. Knocks down the free throws. Georgia by 5. Essence Carson handling the ball. She's playing the point with Mati Ajavon out. Zurich feeds into Kia Vaughn and then the kick out. The freshman Jernigan. Contested nicely by Robinson. Fight down low. And it's going to stay Rutgers basketball. 7 on the shot clock, 2:19 to go first half. The State Farm Women's Tip-Off Classic here in Norman, Oklahoma. Carson hits from the corner. That's a 2. Rutgers down by 3.
That's a nice little end out of bounds play for Rutgers. Good execution.
Carson leads the Scarlet Knights with a dozen. Houts, the freshman for Georgia, with a dozen. And a push foul will go the other way. And Rutgers basketball.
Georgia foul charged to number 33, Angel Robinson. That's her first and the team's third foul.
Angel Robinson charged with a foul, her first. Let's go over to Debbie.
Hey guys, that illegal screen right there called on Angel Robinson. That is an emphasis in the women's game this year. You cannot have your shoulders out or your feet outside your shoulders. Robinson did that at the top of the key, and the official made the call.
Well, Debbie, you and I talked about that yesterday in practice, how that's how the Georgia post players were setting that screen at the top of the key, and you're right. And we said that the refs would call that in this first game. Always points of emphasis. Seemed to be bigger points of emphasis early in the season as a player, and you see Angel Robinson too wide there with her feet, and she gets called with the foul.
Steal there by Carson. She'll push ahead against Chambers. Into the lane, spinning off the glass and one. Essence Carson with the bucket and has a chance to go to the line and tie this game.
Well, Essence Carson is really the one player that Georgia hasn't found an answer for on the defensive end, and she's just so long, so athletic, and I said this before, when Essence Carson shows the ability to knock down that jump shot consistently, you're really in a quandary as a defender because she's so quick and can get to the rack, and now you don't know what to do, and she's knocked down a couple of those jumpers, so Georgia kind of perplexed in terms of defending her.
So versatile, Essence Carson. Foul charge to Dee Jernigan, and she fouls Ashley Houts. But, I mean, at times, Stringer said she's played the 2, Carson has. She's even played the 4. Now, in her system, the 4 will play on the perimeter. But that's pretty amazing stuff, from power forward to point guard.
Well, it is, and it just shows her unique athletic ability. And And she has that versatility, and this year is really the first year that she'll be counted on to score every game. And she's been their top defender, their person that they put on the other team's best player. But now she's counted on to do both. And as an upperclassman, that's part of the maturation process. Your role evolves and becomes bigger as you grow up.
Rutgers in the penalty. Houts can't convert the front end of the 1-and-1. Closing in a minute to go in the first half. High-scoring affair. Georgia by 1. Vaughn, good feed down low. Maya McCurdy can't get it to go. Corey Chambers can't save it. Ray the jumper. Rutgers by a point.
She can really shoot the basketball. You see, I love precocious freshmen. I love kids that come in here and say, I'm not afraid. I'm just going to put up shots if I'm open. And you have to have that confidence to be a good shooter.
Houts finds Corey Chambers, and now Houts again. 10 in the shot clock. Nice turnover there. Vaughn picks it up, pushes ahead to Ray. Zurich feed down low, Kia Vaughn. And a three-pointer in and out. Vaughn fights for the rebound, can't get it. Janice Hardrick. 10 to go first half. Layup no good. And Ray the other way. 4 seconds. At the buzzer. No good. Ray can't hit it, but Rutgers will go into the break leading by a point. Now Ashley Houts, the freshman's been outstanding. She leads the Lady Bulldogs. Essence Carson outstanding on both ends of the court, and she leads all scorers. At halftime of the score, Rutgers 42, Georgia 41. And it's been a high-scoring affair here in Norman. Now let's send it back to the studio, and we'll join Scott Reese alongside Stacey Dales.
All right, John, thanks so much. Of course, the Rutgers student body all fired up about the football team's success, up to number 7 in this week's new Associated Press poll. But, Stacey, the women's basketball team showing some much improved offense in the first half today.
Well, Scott, much improved is an understatement. This is a team that averaged 64 points a game last year behind Cappy Pondexter. She had almost half of their points. Now, nobody's ever a proponent of quick shots, but I'll tell you what, Rutgers has come down and taken some quick shots, and you like that with this team. You like Essence Carson taking 3-point shots. Who would have expected she would be a point guard for Vivian Stringer's club? But as I said, you're never a proponent of quick shots. I think it's a terrific thing that they're taking quick shots with all those freshmen because they're scoring points that way. And I spoke with Chelsea Newton, who is an assistant coach with this team, and she said, Stace, I don't think I've ever seen a Rutgers team have an offensive prowess like this one, and I think it's going to be a special season behind the play of Kia Vaughn inside. That's a pretty telling statement early in the season. Of course, the Georgia offense looking pretty good in the first half as well. Good ball game in Norman, just a 1-point differential. Plenty to come here on the halftime report. The Maryland Terrapins are back from their Final Four run and national title, but what would the point of emphasis be for a team who's got everybody back?
The State Farm Women's Tip-Off Classic to benefit the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. Brought to you by the all-new Hyundai Santa Fe. Rethink everything.
It hit the curb, it hit a tree, and then just sailed right up into my living room.
I'm State Farm agent Kathy Wall, and this is a true story.
Some fool drove into a living room and parked on a sofa.
So I called State Farm at 2 in the morning, and my agent was there immediately.
Well, I had to get the car towed out of the living room.
At 2 in the morning.
And I had to get some guys to board up the house.
At 2 in the morning.
She stayed with me till 5 a.m.
Great service and great rates. It's all here. Nobody takes care of you like State Farm. Call an agent today.
Like a good neighbor?
State Farm is there.
The Hyundai Azera. With 8 airbags, electronic stability control, and a 263 horsepower V6 all-standard, plus more interior space than a BMW 760i. It may be the most car for the money ever. It's no wonder the Hyundai Azera was ranked most appealing large car by J.D. Power and Associates.
What is it you want, Barry? You want the moon? Hey, that's a pretty good idea. I'll give you the moon, all right?
A gift from K Jewelers means every diamond is hand-selected to match beautifully.
Why don't you kiss her instead of talking at her, Dad?
Every kiss begins with K.
3 incomplete homework assignments. 5 movie trailers stopped midstream. 13 important phone calls missed.
When you've got dial-up, you can miss out on so much. Now, you don't have to anymore. Not when you can get high-speed Verizon Online DSL for a really low price. And you can do so much more, like click and connect to the net in an instant. Talk on the phone and surf the web at the same time on the same line. Download photos faster than ever before. Just call 1-866-545-9322. That's 1-866-545-9322 to get Verizon Online DSL for about what you've been paying for dial-up and see what you've been missing.
32 photos of grandson opened. 347 favorite disco tunes downloaded.
Phone, broadband, TV, Verizon.
Monday at 3, it's a special edition of SportsCenter. Then Around the Horn, followed by Pardon the Interruption. After that, NFL Primetime, followed by Monday Night Countdown. Then the Buccaneers battle the Panthers on ESPN Monday Night Football. Is it Monday yet?
A century so young already has its game, courtesy of an age-old rivalry. They always meet this time of year, but never before like this. 1 and 2, a dream on the line, and America on the edge of its seat. Carve it in stone. That's where it belongs. November 18th, 2006, Michigan and Ohio State.
Brent Musburger, thank you. Essence Carson, thank you for a strong first half. The Scarlet Knights by 1 over Georgia at the break.
Well, they've got to go for 3 now. Tolliver looking for screen. She fires. Got it! We'll go to overtime. Foley under 3. Foley has to force it. No! Maryland's done it!
Seems like just yesterday, Maryland with a thrilling overtime victory over Duke in the national championship game. But Stacey, you're the defending champs. You've got 98% of your scoring back. Where do you go from here?
That's a great question. I spoke with Brenda Fries this week, and she spent a lot of time on the road with a guy named Billy Donovan, the Florida coach that won the national championship last year. Well, they had a young team too, and I asked her, what do you do with this club? Well, she said, you don't defend your title, you get better. You challenge your team, and this is a team that didn't defend as well as Brenda Fries wanted it to last year, so that's what they've done in the offseason. You know Tolliver can score. You know that Marissa Coleman can get to the rim, and Harper there, Laura Harper, great finish at the basket. Shea Duran can push tempo, but this team has to defend. They were 199th in the country in defense out of 324 teams, allowing 65 a game. And the best example, Marissa Coleman, she could play offense last year. She could board, but she couldn't defend. Brenda Fries said, this is my best defender this season. She'll guard the opponent's best.
And it's a good problem to have. You know, where do you go from here after bringing back 98% of your offense from a national championship team? Maryland's certainly a title contender this season, Stacey. You know, we asked you to pick your final 4 teams, and I guess there's been some sort of bizarre rule change in women's basketball. We're actually going to have 5 teams in the final 4 this year. Is that how it works?
Well, our producer, Oli, the great producer, he said, I need 4 teams. And I said, I can't give you 4 teams, Oli. I need to give you 5 because there's 5 unbelievable teams out there. You know Maryland's good, but I think Oklahoma is a special team behind Paris, Courtney Paris, and Brittany Brown is an improved point guard. Sherry Cole wouldn't trade her for anybody in the country. You have Stanford and the throwback in the middle, Brooke Smith. If you haven't seen her play, she can go over left or right. And then Candace Wiggins might be the best player in the country this year. In Tennessee, Candace Parker, I don't know if there's a better player in the country right now. In North Carolina, if Ivory Latta guards and as she did last year and leads this team, I don't know who's going to beat UNC.
All right, so Stacey's final 5 this first week of the season.
5.
Maybe we can pare it down to 4 as we head through at least November.
We'll work on it.
We'll work on
it.
All right, I was told there would be no math. Coming up on the halftime report, Peyton Manning leading the NFL's last unbeaten team into action against the Bills, and Tiger's been unbeaten in stroke play of late, but that streak in serious jeopardy.
My brother started selling auto insurance. I got a little pressure to use them.
A little? I'm State Farm Agent Amy Kaplan, and this is a true story.
I didn't pressure you. I think blood is thicker than water.
So with some of the staff, we switched from State Farm to him.
The service is horrible.
Well, he wouldn't call me back, and he's my brother.
So I called him, and he was ready to switch back. State Farm treated us like family.
Yeah, better.
Great service and great rates, it's all here. Nobody takes care of you like State Farm. Call an agent today.
Like a good neighbor?
State Farm is there.
How many cubic feet does this one have?
This one's 26.
Can you deliver this tomorrow?
Sure, that's what we do.
One more question.
What's the difference between a convection oven and a conventional oven?
Simple. I'll show you.
Thanks.
Oh, hey, Bill. Is the Whirlpool Duet an Energy Star appliance?
Yeah, sure is.
Our people know their stuff.
Hey, Bill. Hey, I got a question about self-defrosting freezers.
Sure. What do you want to know?
Everything.
Lowe's. Let's build something together.
Come to Lowe's and receive 10% off any in-stock major appliance purchase of $397 or more.
First, I want to thank my rival coach here for getting my favorite pizza delivered. That was a class act. Thanks, Coach.
It's not delivery.
What? Hey, if this isn't delivery, we'll play the entire game in...
Taste the pizza that has no rival. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Is this dress too sparkly?
You can win 2 tickets to your favorite 07 rivalry game, plus a home theater system. See specially marked packages.
The Hyundai Azera. It shatters preconceptions. It defies assumptions. And with 8 airbags, a 263 horsepower V6, plus more interior space than a BMW 760i. It's a whole new take on luxury. And the repercussions are just beginning. The Hyundai Azera, ranked most appealing large car by J.D. Power and Associates.
How much do you pay when you buy a stock? Does the rate change depending on how often you trade or how much you have in your account? At TD Ameritrade, there's only one price for online stock trades, $9.99. No matter how often you trade, no matter how much money you have in your account. Straightforward pricing from TD Ameritrade. Independence is the spirit that drives America's most successful investors.
Steve Smith and the Carolina Panthers won 4 in a row and had their sights set on the NFC South lead. But after 2 straight setbacks, the Panthers must bounce back. There's no margin of error left for Joey Galloway, John Gruden, and the Bucks. Tampa Bay at Carolina at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN's Monday Night Football.
The NFL's lone unbeaten, the Indianapolis Colts with a 10-3 lead over the Bills. As we tick down toward halftime, Peyton Manning has thrown for 92 yards and a 1-yard touchdown strike to Reggie Wayne. Of course, Indianapolis 8-0, and there's talk of them running the table. Hold on now, we still have a lot of football to be played. Golf in Shanghai. Tiger Woods, the HSBC Championship, 5 strokes back heading into Sunday, looking for a small miracle. You know he's capable of a small miracle. Second shot on the par 5 14th, and that just might be miraculous.
You could do that, Reese.
I couldn't do that if he gave me 100 shots. Within 10 feet of the cup, Tiger would miss the eagle attempt, settle for bird, but he shot a 5 under 67. Good, not good enough. Yong Yoon Yang on 18 is your winner. The Black Knights of Army will kick off their women's basketball season later today against Ohio State on ESPNU. Prior to tip-off, they will honor their late head coach, Maggie Dixon. Dixon died last year of a heart irregularity. This just 3 weeks after she led Army to its first Patriot League title and NCAA appearance. She was just 28 years old. Meanwhile, her brother, Coach Jamie Dixon of the Pittsburgh men's team, leading his club against Western Michigan. First half, it's Levance Fields. Nice look to Mike Cook for the lay-in. More Pitt, the wily veteran, Antonio Graves. Will fake and bake, go baseline, and well, hang time. Pittsburgh by 25 at the break. Second half, Aaron Gray.
Boy, he's a talent inside.
Yes, he is.
I don't, if you're Western Michigan, you can't handle that big guy.
86-67 is your final score. We're just about set to go for half number 2 in Norman, the State Farm Tip-Off Classic. Rutgers by 1 over Georgia.
I talk. I swing. I hit.
I fly.
and I throw like a girl.
At State Farm, we've always believed in the spirit of the female athlete. That's why we're committed to supporting women's athletics.
The Philips HD Flat TV with Ambilight is the only flat TV with the power to transform a mood at the touch of a button. Simplicity is a button that transforms television.
With every kiss, with every step, love grows. A Journey diamond necklace from Kay Jewelers. Multiple diamonds arranged from smallest to largest to symbolize how love has grown.
Every kiss begins with Kay.
Pride fighting is survival of the fittest.
Oh no! And then goes in trouble. Lacing left and right, and
The best welterweight fighters have gathered in the Pride ring. Now it's time for Bushido Survival Final Round. Who will wear Pride Fighting's welterweight tournament belt? Find out in Pride's Bushido Survival Finals, premiering Sunday, November 12th on Dish Network pay-per-view.
The name of this game is Stay Alive.
There are 100 million gamers in America.
Boot it up!
Did you guys feel that?
Yeah.
But what happens when the game you play...
She got me, some woman, man.
Hey, is somebody out there?
...starts playing you?
Something's happening! Something bad! Don't you get it? If you die in the game, you die for real.
Stay Alive. Rated PG-13.
American Soccer's championship event. MLS Cup 2006. Are you kidding me? Two teams will put everything on the line. It's in the back of the net. New England Revolution versus Houston Dynamo. Today at 3:30 Eastern on ABC.
Back here at the State Farm Women's Tip-Off Classic, Rutgers leading Georgia 42-41 at the half. Hi, folks. John Chambi alongside Kara Lawson, and we've had ourselves a very entertaining first half of basketball. It's been interesting. Both sides shooting very well. What did you expect as far as the pace and how it's played out?
Well, certainly this isn't the pace that we're used to seeing from Rutgers. Getting up and down, scoring the basketball a lot. I know Vivian Stringer is not happy with her squad on the defensive end, though.
We talked about how Georgia is short-handed. Wow, they've gotten a lift from their freshmen.
Well, they have. I mean, Ashley House has done a great job of coming in. Her first game as a collegian. She's knocking down shots. She's running the team offense. 12 points for her, 5 assists. And then the Rutgers freshmen, Epiphany Prince, Maya McCurdy, they've all had a hand in helping. You see Brittany Ray knocking down shots. She's in double figures with 10 points. So a good job by helping Rutgers and the scoring area keep them in this game. Because like I said, up to Rutgers standards, this team has been subpar on the defensive end.
Check out our State Farm first half stats. Field goal percentage excellent for both teams, but the three-pointers for Georgia, 7 out of 10. That's really kept them in this one. Turnovers 9-5. Rutgers at times exerting some of that pressure. Let's go over to Debbie. You got a chance to talk with both coaches?
I did, John. I spoke to head coach Andy Landers for Georgia. He said we've got to have better recognition out of our zone on where Brittany Ray is, but otherwise with only 7, that's the best they probably can do defensively is stay in that zone. And for Rutgers, it's a matter of getting Kia Vaughn established inside. They want to go to her early if they can in the second half, and they've got to get out on the three-point shooters for Georgia.
Well, the other thing Rutgers has to do, better recognition of Ashley Houts as the freshman tacks on 2 more. She's got 14. Brittany Ray the miss. And House pushing ahead. Mati Ajavon right there. They are without her, recovering from surgery on a stress fracture in her leg, and they absolutely need her. First team all Big East a season to go.
No, we talked about so much about Georgia missing Tasha Humphrey. Well, Rutgers is missing an All-American in their own right, and that's Mati Ajavon, and she's one of the best players in college basketball when it comes to creating her own shot, and she's got lots of shake and bake in her game, and she also brings a tough mentality to this team. She loves to compete.
So a lot of people contributing so far today for Vivian Stringer, and they're going to get arguably their best player back. Feed in for Vaughn. Tips back out. Carson. That one in and out. The freshman McCurdy. That one no good. An air ball in the putback. And here comes the freshman Houts. Georgia leading by a point. Ashley Houts' college debut has been outstanding. Corey Chambers fouled, and she will go to the line, the senior from Elmsford, New York.
That's her first. That's his first.
Well, this is a player for me, Corey Chambers, I think really has to step up this year as a senior. And you look at her, and we know she's a prolific three-point shooter and setting the single-season record for Georgia last year, but she only went to the free throw line 11 times last year. Now, part of that was because the inside presence of Tasha Humphrey, and part of that was Sherelle Baker and Alexis Kendrick, but she needs to get to the line more and be more than just a shooter to be successful, and that's what she's doing here, but I think she has to do that consistently all season.
Again, Georgia without its best player, Tasha Humphrey, one of the best players in the country, and a force to be reckoned with inside. There's a steal by Chambers. Hardrick pulls up. In and out, ball on the board. Rutgers basketball. Just underway, second half. Rutgers and Georgia. Epiphany Prince, the outstanding freshman, has it deflected, and that one will go out of bounds. It'll stay Rutgers basketball. Just getting started, second half. Georgia leads this one by 3.
The NBA on ESPN tonight at 8 Eastern.
In the shadows, you challenge yourself. In the spotlight, you challenge others. You know what it takes to be number one. At State Farm, so do we.
Your car needs air to operate efficiently, and a restrictive paper air filter can leave it gasping for breath. K&N Lifetime air filters with high-flow technology aren't made of paper, so air flows more easily. In short, more air means more horsepower. Changing your clogged air filter can improve mileage by up to 10%, and a K&N Lifetime air filter never needs to be replaced. Make your move with K&N, the world's best air filter.
For years, E-Trade was alone, standing outside, throwing stones at the financial establishment, challenging the ordinary. Now that we've matured, we're doing it from inside. E-Trade Financial combines banking, trading, and investing so you can make the most of your money. Be maximized. Visit etrade.com and be extraordinary.
Back here in Norman on the campus of the University of Oklahoma. It's the State Farm Women's Tip-Off Classic. And coming up, it is game 2 of our doubleheader here on ESPN2. Be sure to stay tuned for that. Number 19, DePaul, taking on number 3, Oklahoma. And sophomore standout Courtney Paris, one of the top players in the entire country. She was amazing last year as a freshman.
Well, check out those numbers. I mean, 22 points a game, 15 rebounds, 3.3 blocks a game, and we were talking about this before the game, John. How many minutes a game did she play last year to get those numbers?
Yeah, 29.
29 minutes. I mean, it's just amazing her efficiency as a young player, and she's worked hard and improved. And we got another inside player here in Rutgers, and I think Kia Vaughn is a player that they need to utilize more on the offensive end. It's tough when you're a post player because you can't pass the ball to yourself, but they need to get it to her. I mean, she's an impact player, and stop settling for as many outside jump shots and get the ball inside.
Bryson fighting for that inbound with Ashley Houts. Epiphany Prince handling. And another freshman, McCurdy. Again, looking to try and establish Kia Vaughn down low, something Vivian Stringer was hoping for. Here they go. Shot clock violation and a turnover right there. So lack of awareness, and it'll turn over. Andy Landers looking on. Georgia leading by 3.
A little too late there, and here's what happens sometimes with young guards. It's learning how to feed the post. You have to find a way to get it to your player, and Kia Vaughn does as good a job as any of the post player in the country of showing herself But then what you don't realize sometimes as a young player, if you have a good post player and you throw it in there, you're going to get it back because they have to help down. And so the offense needs to run through Kia Vaughn for Rutgers.
Maya McCurdy feeds into Vaughn. Foul line jumper. That's off the mark. Rousey the board for Georgia. Houts and the Lady Bulldogs the other way. Georgia ranked number 9 in the country. Rutgers number 11. We have 4 of the best teams in the nation here in Norman, Oklahoma for the Women's State Farm Tip-Off Classic. 2 on the shot clock. Hardrick into the lane. Off the rim, no good. Rousey, nice board. Left-handed and banks it home.
Yeah, that's what happens when there's breakdown on the dribble. Kia Vaughn coming over to help, and her man's left unattended. Rebecca Rousey with a nice putback.
Maya McCurdy, a freshman from Cincinnati. This is Carson. And a step on the baseline, turnover, Georgia basketball.
Well, we'll take a look at this next play, and you're going to see Kia Vaughn step up and try and help her teammate. And she's not able to, or she does, and then the other player, Rebecca Rousey, comes in and gets the rebound.
So Rousey with the bucket. She's got 4. Georgia by 5. And the pressure here from Rutgers. Chambers ahead. Christy Marshall to Houts.
I'll tell you, one of the things I love about this freshman Ashley Houts as a point guard is she never seems to be out of control. No matter what pace she's going, if she's in a half-court set, in a full-court set, she stays under control. That's going to limit her turnovers.
Nice shot by Christy Marshall. Georgia by 7. So Houts not only scoring, but creating opportunities for others. Top of the key, and that one off the mark for Epiphany Prince. Good work down low by Brittany Ray. Under 16 timeout. Georgia leading by 7 coming up. Courtney Paris certainly won Candace Parker a favorite, but who might give her a run for the Wade Trophy as the nation's best player?
At the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, we celebrate the heritage of the game and inspire future leaders to be their best.
Here at the State Farm Tip-Off Classic, they have assembled a tremendous field.
Look out, we might have a new star in college basketball.
Great players. They're the reason why coaches get to be Hall of Famers. To be named to the Hall of Fame, that is something that endures.
Technology has made your morning easier. Why not your shave? The Philips Norelco Smart Touch XL is designed to shave more with 3 shaving rings in each shaving head, and it stays on your neck, so even tricky hairs are cut. Simplicity is making every stroke count.
Taking a quick break? I'd like to see that for someone very special.
The Leo Diamond, independently certified for superior brilliance, hand selected to match beautifully by K Jewelers.
Chris, how did you know? Every kiss begins with K.
Folks, I've been informed we'll be in a holding pattern for the next hour.
It's time to play Take On Orbits. Today's players need to alert each of their clients they'll be late for a meeting from midair.
Oh.
Ready? Go. Done. Orbitz notifies anyone you're running late automatically. Introducing Orbitz TLC. You get treated like a VIP only when you book on Orbitz and go.
Now, who's the best player in the nation at the end of the season? She'll receive the State Farm Wade Trophy. Jessica Davenport, reigning Big Ten Player of the Year, a 2-time All-America. As well, Ivory Lotta, North Carolina, the ACC Player of the Year, one of the best guards in the country. How about Candace Parker? Tennessee's all-everything, electrified the women's game with her versatility. We'll see Courtney Paris, Oklahoma's dominating pivot player, had an outstanding freshman year. And then out west, Candace Wiggins of Stanford, a 2-time Pac-10 Player of the Year, also twice an All-America. So the State Farm Wade Trophy will be handed out at the end of the season. Kara Lawson, who's your favorite?
I like Candace Parker. I think Candace Parker is the best player in the country right now. To me, it's not it's not close as far as who's the best. But I think there's 4 players under her, 5. I like Tasha Humphrey in there too that are right under there. And when I say Candace Parker's the best player, John, that doesn't necessarily mean you win the Wade Trophy. That doesn't mean you win Player of the Year. I think so much about being a Player of the Year is how you elevate your teammates, how you make your team better. But Candace Parker's the best player.
We're going to look at one of the top candidates in Game 2 of our doubleheader, Courtney Paris, and number 3, Oklahoma. It's Rutgers basketball under 16 to go second half. And the Scarlet Knights trailing by 7. Brittany Ray short on the 3. And Georgia the other way. Andy Lander's team with a chance to stretch the lead. Ashley Houts handling the ball. The freshman has been outstanding here today. And a foul on Brittany Ray. That's going to be her 3rd. Back to the State Farm Wade Trophy for just a moment. Let me ask you this. If I were to tell you Courtney Paris was going to go out and have the identical season that she had a season ago, 700 points, 500 boards, 100 blocks, is she going to win it?
She didn't win it last year, and she had the same season. I mean, like I said, I think it's so much about team success and how well Oklahoma does. And a big part of winning Player of the Year is how you do in marquee matchups, how you play against the big teams throughout the year. How does Courtney Paris play when she's faced against Jessica Davenport later in December here on ESPN? We had that game. So I think it's a lot. There's a lot of factors that go involved, and numbers isn't all of it.
Rutgers cold to start the second half, and a layup there by Marshall. It's a 9-point bulge for the Lady Bulldogs. Essence Carson hands off to Epiphany Prince. Prince into the lane, little runner, and that one rattles home. Epiphany Prince comes up with a bucket. She's got 5.
I love what Georgia's doing here offensively here in the second half. Once they break that pressure, they're settling into half court and looking for a good shot. They're not being rushed by the full court pressure that Rutgers extends.
Nice shot there by Megan Dara. Dara's got 7, and Georgia continues to be hot from the floor. Scramble for the basketball. Good job by Ray. Feeds Prince. Vaughn down low. The foul in the bucket, and she'll have a chance at a 3-point play. Well, they wanted to establish Kia Vaughn, and they got her in a little mini transition there.
Well, they did, and there was a scrum for the ball in the middle of the court, and Epiphany Prince does a great job of recognition. She's got a nice little 2-on-1 break. How about the bounce pass coming up high for the post player? Let them catch it. Don't make the big guys bend over low. They don't like to do that. They like the ball right in their mitts, and Kia Vaughn with the chance for 3-point play.
Vaughn can't get it to go. She's got 8. Rutgers down 7. Marshall on the baseline, feeds to Angel Robinson, and a block call. Let's go over to Debbie.
Well, guys, you may have seen Janice Hardrick, the senior for Georgia, run up the tunnel. Well, she just returned back to the bench. She has an upset stomach, so an already short Georgia bench, only dressing 7 players, could get shorter. Now, Hardrick is reported to be able to return back to the game, but they're just trying to settle her down and settle her stomach right now.
Conversation for a moment, and it will end up being Rutgers basketball. So Janice Hardrick not feeling well. Man, Andy Landers, talk about a short bench.
One thing you always know with Georgia is short bench, no matter how many players they have, they compete. And I'm sure Andy's pretty happy with where he is right now, being up 7 in the middle portion of the second half.
Katie Adams feeds Essence Carson. Her jumper is good. That's a 2, and it's a 5-point game. Georgia really has had no problem with the pressure.
No, they didn't. Early on, they had a little bit of struggle, a couple turnovers, but they're beating it, and they're heeding their coach's advice. Get past the pressure and then set up your defense and try and pick Rutgers apart.
Nice block there by Vaughn on Marshall. 7 on the shot clock. Deep 3. Chambers, no good. Robinson collects. Left-handed layup goes down. 55-48.
Well, that's two nice plays there by the freshman center. Nice kick out to Corey Chambers for the open three, and she stays active. She doesn't quit on the play. It enables her to get a putback.
Georgia by 7, closing in on 12 minutes to go in the second half. The State Farm Women's Tip-Off Classic begins our coverage of 140 women's college basketball games on the ESPN family of networks. Shot clock violation. That's the second time it's happened today. Vivian Stringer's group trailing by 7. Coming up, Scott and Stacy with an update on #1 Maryland.
It hit the curb, it hit a tree, and then just sailed right up into my living room.
I'm State Farm agent Kathy Wall, and this is a true story.
Some fool drove into a living room and parked on a sofa.
So I called State Farm at 2 in the morning, and my agent was there immediately.
Well, I had to get the car towed out of the living room.
At 2 in the morning.
And I had to get some guys to board up the house.
At 2 in the morning.
She stayed with me till 5 a.m.
Great service and great rates. It's all here. Nobody takes care of you like State Farm. Call an agent today.
Like a good neighbor?
State Farm is there.
Jay?
Steve?
Why can the sharpest knives cut through anything? The secret is in the steel. And now, the Gin 5 steel technology that creates the sharpest knives has been forged into a razor. Introducing the Infinity Razor, with blades so sharp and so strong, it's guaranteed for life. The blades use advanced Gin 5 steel technology. This is the last razor you ever have to buy. Shave kissably smooth, shave after shave. Call now and your Infinity Razor is only $19.95 with a lifetime replacement guarantee. Order now and we'll double your order. Buy one, get one free. You'll also get 6 Infinity Aromatherapy Shave Gels, a $15 value, free. Plus, if you call right now, you'll also receive this razor-sharp 7-inch carving knife forged with Gin 5 steel, a $30 value, free. It's a $65 value for only $19.95. Order now.
Call 1-800-958-3689.
Scott Reese, Stacey Dales in the studio, and the defending champ Stacey not showing much rust in the early going. Check out Shea Duran. No look to Christy Todd.
Well, I've heard good things about her early.
Maryland's up 19-11 early on. We will keep you posted, John.
All right, Scott, thanks very much. Here in Norman, Georgia, number 9 ranked team leading by 7. Short bench, talked about it earlier. We got a chance to talk with Corey Chambers about how the players on the court have to handle the minutes.
Coach told us being tired is not an option. You know, I think I'm starting to get used to it. I mean, we've been shorthanded years before, you know. So I think it's something that you just got to accept. You can't think about what if, and maybe you just got to deal with the situation and the cards you were dealt and play as hard as you can in the moment.
Well, I love what Coach Landers does there, is telling them it's not an option to be tired, and I got to think it's fun. I mean, players want to play.
Sure.
And if you tell me as a player I'm going to get to play 35 to 40 minutes a night, I think I'm all for that, and I'm going to go hard.
You're in. Rousey being pressured. Outs in and out. It'll be Rutgers basketball. Katie Adams pushing ahead, the junior from Ogden, Utah. Epiphany Prince, high arching three, no good. Good rebound by Adams. And they'll reset the shot clock. Rutgers trailing by 7, closing in on 11 here in the second half. And a turnover, Houts pushing ahead, working on Carson. And this is what you talked about, slowing down and letting the offense set up.
Oh, yeah, this is where she's just matured beyond her years and understanding tempo. And that's a key thing as a point guard. You have to understand tempo and know the strengths of your teammates. And she's done that at a very early stage.
Deep three is no good. Rebound fought 4 and 1 by Corey Chambers. The Lady Bulldogs resetting. Marshall. Baseline jumper, Angel Robinson, in and out. Epiphany Prince working 1-on-3. And slings over to Katie Adams. Carson will run the show. Rutgers has gone cold here in the second half. Good job getting Angel Robinson up in the air. Adams knocks it down.
That's one of the first possessions in the second half, and we're halfway through that it felt like Rutgers was under control in their offensive set. When they have patience, they can score against the zone. When you're patient against the zone, it's going to give you opportunities to score.
Georgia by 5, under 10 to go. Marshall, check that. Chambers with a 3. And Georgia stretching the lead to 8. And we told you coming in last year, 42% from 3 for Corey Chambers. Outs collects the rebound. One of the things that's helped Georgia in the second half, they have not turned the basketball over.
Well, I'm sure that was a point of emphasis for Andy Landers. I think they had 9 in the first half, and they're just doing a good job of establishing the tempo and doing a good job of milking the clock and finding a good shot. You don't see Georgia on offense with the shot clock going down. They keep getting good shots, and the players know what's a good shot for them on the offensive end.
We talked about Houck scoring. That was assist number 7 as she found Rebecca Rousey. Georgia with a 10-point lead. Now college basketball action on ESPN2 tomorrow night starting at 7 Eastern, the CBE Classic. It's the regional final from Durham, North Carolina. The winner advancing to the semis in Kansas City to face the winner of the Palo Alto Regional. Now Thursday night, a huge night for Rutgers athletics. Ray Rice and company, a come-from-behind win. They were down 25-7 in the game. Rice going in. Eat till the game-winning field goal. He got a second chance. And Rutgers, this just in, has jumped to 7 in the AP poll. How about that? So from 15 to 7 as the kids rush the field. Oh, what a night. And there is Ray Rice, his girlfriend, Mati Ajavon. She's anxious to get back playing.
Well, she talked about watching the game, said she wasn't nervous. She felt like Rutgers was going to win the game all along.
And she's certainly a confident young lady. Kia Vaughn picking up a bucket, and Rutgers down by 8. What a night, though, for Greg Schiano. Vivian Stringer is on our air with Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler, and she's so excited about what Greg Schiano has done just in the overall for the university, and did a great job of that football program.
Well, it's the best story in college football this year, and what Greg Schiano has done in Rutgers, and it's really what Vivian Stringer has been doing for a lot of years at Rutgers with the women's basketball program. This is a team and a program that's been nationally prominent for years and made it to Final Fours and Sweet 16s, but it is nice to see their football program back on the map.
Robinson working on Vaughn, using glass, no good. And Vaughn brings it down. Carson the other way. Rutgers trying to cut into a 6-point Georgia lead. Prince for 3. And that one off the mark. Dara the board. And this Janice Hardrick, the senior, back in the game, has that upset stomach. But gutting it out. Only 7 players dressed for the Georgia Lady Bulldogs. And they're without their top player. Robinson lost the handle. It'll go the other way. And it'll be Rutgers basketball when we come back. The Scarlet Knights trailing by 6, trying to use the defense of freshman Epiphany Prince to get back in this one.
Marshall's Law number 131. We can't drop names, but we can drop their prices. Get the same designer fashions you'd find in department stores for up to half off every day. Saving has never been so stylish. That's Marshall's Law.
Subway Restaurants has 8 delicious sandwiches with 6 grams of fat or less. At McDonald's, they have a great selection of sandwiches too. But if you get rid of everything with more than 6 grams of fat, you're not left with much. Not much at all. Subway. Eat fresh.
Welcome to Lowe's. Can I help you?
Yes. I need some of that,
Garland?
Yes. And how about one of those, you know, I can see it in...
A wreath?
Yes. And I also need one of those with the people in the snow.
Giant inflatable snow globe.
In the nose.
Rudolph and friends inside?
Yes.
At Lowe's, you'll find plenty of everything you need for the holidays,
Ornament hooks?
including plenty of help.
About this high.
Your husband?
Yes.
Right behind you.
Hey, got one of these,
Warner step ladders.
Lowe's. Let's build something together.
You know what I desire.
Yes, my count. Pizza.
You had garlic bread pizza delivered.
Of course not, silly. It's not delivery.
New DiGiorno garlic bread pizza. Great toppings on garlic bread crust. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Tomato sauce.
The State Farm Women's Tip-Off Classic, to benefit the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, is brought to you by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Back here in Norman on the campus of the University of Oklahoma, it's the State Farm Women's Tip-Off Classic. Georgia leading by 6. John Shambi alongside Kara Lawson and Debbie Antonelli inside the Lloyd Noble Center. Outstanding doubleheader for you. Vivian Stringer and Rutgers trailing right now by 6. As we're looking at 4 of the best teams in the entire nation. Now coming up tomorrow night at 9 Eastern, ESPN2, Indiana Hoosiers taking to court their first game under head coach Kelvin Sampson. They'll take on the Lafayette Leopards of the Patriot League in the Dick's Sporting Goods NIT season tip-off. That game available in high definition on ESPN2 HD. Rutgers basketball trying to cut into a 6-point lead for Georgia.
We'll see what happens out of this timeout. The last timeout for Rutgers, they got scored on 2 straight offensive possessions, and Vivian Stringer does another good job of settling her team down. When you don't have a regular point guard, sometimes it's up to the coach to settle her team down on the offensive end.
Jump ball, Rutgers basketball, and the pressure getting to Georgia right there. Kia Vaughn all over the place.
Oh, look at the substitution of Andy Landers. The pressure gets to Georgia. He calls on his freshman point guard, Ashley Houts, to get back in the game.
The senior will sit down. Janice Hardrick, who is not feeling well, and Houts back in. Ashley Houts, 14.7 assists. Brittany Ray, one of the prize freshmen for Rutgers. Here's another, Epiphany Prince. Almost a steal by Houts. Carson loses the basketball. Houts fighting for it. And they're going to call a foul on Epiphany Prince.
Rutgers now charged to number 10, Epiphany Prince.
Ashley Houts, such a great motor, such a great work ethic. She gets on the floor and she doesn't stop until the whistle blows or until she has the basketball. And when you have a toughness at the point guard position, that allows it to filter throughout the rest of the team. And if you have a tough point guard, more often than not, you have a tough team.
Prince with a steal, her defense helping out. The freshman McCurdy ahead of the pack lays it in. Rutgers within 2. How about that? Ray not quite able to save it. And it'll be Georgia basketball. All of a sudden the pressure turning up. And Rutgers starting to turn the basketball over on Georgia.
When you're a defensive team, you thrive off pressure, but you thrive off turnovers, and turnovers energize you, and that's what's happened the last couple possessions for Rutgers.
Georgia's gone close to 3 minutes without a field goal. Turnover there, and it'll be Rutgers basketball. Chance to tie or take the lead. Here's Debbie.
Well, guys, we've been talking all game about the freshman for Rutgers. One of 5 of those freshmen is Epiphany Prince. You've been documenting how well she scored. Well, 113 points in a game in high school. No one's ever done that. That's a high school scoring record. And in 12 years at Rutgers, Vivian Stringer's team have never scored 100 points. So the question mark coming in was, where was the offense going to come from? You take the 5 freshmen, you add up their offensive scoring averages from high school. It's 118 points, Kara. That's a lot of offense, and that's what Rutgers is going to need right now. Put the ball in the people's hands who can penetrate and get to the bucket and get to the line.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have so much talent there on the offensive end, and that's what makes this Rutgers team so scary, is down the road the potential. When these guys get a grip of what Vivian Stringer wants on the defensive end, I mean, this is going to be a team to watch.
What's the most points you scored in the high school game?
112. She beat me by 1 point.
Now,
I was upset. I was upset last year. My record was broken.
Georgia breaks the scoring drought, almost 4 minutes without a field goal. And the Lady Bulldogs push back ahead by 4. McCurdy tosses to Ray. Prince handling. And a nice feed down low. Good pump fake, Kia Vaughn. And she has established herself in the second half. She's got 14.
Well, great job there by Epiphany Prince. And it wasn't scoring, it was passing. Nice penetration and getting the ball to the big man.
Houts the freshman. Left-handed scoop shot, no good. Ball on the board. Here comes Rutgers. Angel Robinson slow getting up. Prince rattles it home. Epiphany Prince, the prize freshman, has 9, and we are tied up 62 apiece.
Well, Epiphany Prince, the nice job, the nice little shot fake, gets Corey Chambers off her feet and drives into the lane for the finish. And that's the one thing that we know she can do, is finish shots. And she's done a better job in the second half of being under control. I felt in the first half pressed a little bit on the offensive end, but she's been more under control in the second half.
Foul called, I believe, on Brittany Ray, and if it is, that's number 5.
Brittany Ray, that's her 5th foul.
So one of those 5 outstanding freshmen for Vivian Stringer, and she is fouled out of this game.
One of the great things about basketball is the ebb and flow of the game, and Georgia had been so good in breaking Rutgers' pressure, and momentum switches just like that, and Rutgers is able to affect Georgia now on the offensive end, and in turn their lead is down to nothing now. It's a tie ball game because of that.
Vaughn very active guarding the inbounder. Dara having trouble. Feed back to Dara. And Hardrick able to get it into the front court. Freshman on freshman. Prince on Houts. Tied at 62. Game 1 of our doubleheader's been outstanding. Deflection there by Prince, been so active in the second half defensively. The foul and the bucket. Epiphany Prince, the freshman. What a job she's done in the second half. Rutgers by 2. Epiphany Prince doing the job defensively, and in transition offensively. She'll have the free throw when we come back.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and Mom didn't know, but Dad's right behind her with a box and a bow.
This Christmas, tell her she's the greatest chapter in your life story with a gift from K Jewelers 3-Stone Diamond Collection. And you can be assured of 2 things. Every diamond is hand-selected to match beautifully, and she'll absolutely love it.
But I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight,
I'll always remember how I feel tonight.
Every kiss begins with K.
The Philips HD Flat TV with Ambilight is the only flat TV with the power to transform a mood at the touch of a button. simplicity is a button that transforms television.
This season, there's only one place to be on game day.
It don't get any better than this.
Saturday mornings, Chris, Lee, and Kurt take you to the biggest games in the country.
Go Trojans!
From the Pac-10 to the Big East and every place in between.
No more cupcakes. Let's play some football.
Exclusives with the top players and coaches. Behind the scenes with the best programs. Tackling the big stories in college football.
This is his team, his time.
ESPN College Game Day, built by the Home Depot. Saturdays at 10 a.m.
Back here in Norman, quite a basketball game. Rutgers leading by 2. They have been led, at least in part, by their freshman, Epiphany Prince. Been so good at the defensive end, electing to steal there from Hardrick and going in for the layup. That's been a big part of why Rutgers has been able to get back in the game.
Well, it really has, and one of the best things about freshmen, they have short memories. They don't remember how bad they might have played in the first half or how bad the last shot was, and Epiphany Prince has turned it on here in the second half and given Rutgers a much-needed scoring boost.
Completes the three-point play. Prince has a dozen. And again, pressure from Rutgers. And that foul right there on Heather Zurich as she got up on Megan Dare a little too closely. Kara, we talked early about how the pressure didn't seem to be bothering Georgia. Is Rutgers doing something different now?
Well, I don't think it's Rutgers that's doing something different as much as it's Georgia that's doing something different. Rutgers is keeping Kia Vaughn up close to defend Ashley House, but Georgia in the first half driving around the pressure. Second half, trying to throw over it, and that's not going to work. That's going to cause turnovers.
So Georgia calls a timeout. Rutgers leading this one by 3. And an outstanding job defensively here in the second half by Vivian Stringer's team. The pace, I would have to think of the first half, not to her liking, and now establishing the Rutgers basketball we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like her defense really went back to its roots in the second half, and she got after them in the huddles. You can see her coaching and trying to teach these freshmen, and it's a process when you have a lot of young players trying to mesh not only on the offensive end, but on the defensive end. It's about team, and it's about working with one another, especially when you're a pressing team, knowing the coverages and getting in the passing lanes, and after that, their athleticism is taking over and enabling them to get steals and get easy buckets in transition.
Well, that says it all. A field goal in the last 5:20, and that is how Rutgers has gotten back in this game and forged ahead by 3. And again, Vivian Stringer's group will continue the pressure. Chambers over in the corner. And they try and trap Dara. Vaughn very active. Hardrick pushes ahead. Now Chambers. And they set up the offense. Foul there, and Houts will go to the line.
Great shot fake by Ashley House, and she just does a great job of using her body and really preying on the anticipation of the defense. I mean, look, these guys don't need to jump to block her shot. Kia Vaughn doesn't have to do that, and that's just a reaction by the defense, and she's able to get to the line. And smart player. Andy Landers raved about her, and I was anxious to see her play, and she's been, as advertised, nothing but impressive for her debut.
Well, the other thing for Georgia in this one, only 1 3-pointer in the second half. They had 7 in the first half. Rutgers has been able to limit that. Scarlet Knights leading by a point. Both these teams advanced to the Sweet 16 a season ago in the NCAA tournament. Here's Vaughn. She's had a good second half. Great job by Houts, tying it up. Georgia basketball. McDonald's All-America, Parade All-America, and both ends of the court for Ashley Houts.
Well, that's what happens when you're a big girl and you bring the ball down. The little girls have a chance to grab it from you.
reach in there by Kia Vaughn. Vaughn's first foul, the sophomore from the Bronx.
Now Rutgers has to be careful here when they extend their pressure. Georgia in the bonus right now, and some good free throw shooters on that end with a little under 3 minutes to go. So you want to pressure, you want to be aggressive, but if you're going to at the expense of giving up points, then you need to take a little bit of a step back.
See Houts with the tape around the knee, hobbling a little bit. How much of the second half spurt by Rutgers has to do with the thin Georgia bench and maybe a little bit of fatigue?
No, it definitely could be contributed to fatigue, and I think that's why early on and throughout the game, Rutgers has extended the full court defense to make Georgia work. It's a difference when you're picking up someone at half court, or as a point guard, you have to go against pressure for 94 feet. That can take a lot out of you, and that can lead to mental mistakes down the stretch.
Carson into the front court. Rutgers trailing by a point. And there's Houts again with a steal. Ashley Houts, a freshman, starting her first college game, and she has been brilliant here today. 16 points, leads all the Georgia Lady Bulldogs. And pressure on the defensive end. Good feed down low. Angel Robinson working on Vaughn. No bucket, but the foul, and she'll go to the line.
Well, I love what Angel Robinson did in that play against Kia Vaughn, and it's something she didn't do in her first half matchups against her down on the low post one-on-one. She attacked, and when you get the ball that deep in the paint, you have to attack the defender. You force the referee to make a call. There's two good things that can happen. You can score or you get fouled, and there's really only one bad thing, is that you can miss the shot. So usually the aggressor is the one that gets the call.
Vivian Stringer going to call a timeout. Georgia leading by 2. Here in Norman, Oklahoma, tomorrow night, 9 Eastern, ESPN 2. Indiana taking the court in their first game under head coach Kelvin Sampson. They'll take on Lafayette, the Leopards of the Patriot League, in the Dick's Sporting Goods NIT season tip-off. And this game also available in high definition on ESPN 2 HD. And a reminder coming up following our game 2 of this doubleheader of the State Farm Women's Tip-Off Classic. Andy Lander's team trying to hold off the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Will have Oklahoma, the number 3 team in the country, against the DePaul Blue Demons, the number 19 team in the country. All 4 of these teams advanced to the Sweet 16 last year.
One of the things you'll see in the women's game is that the top programs, they play everybody. I mean, they want the competition, particularly early in the season before they get into their conference slate, and they like putting their teams in the fire early. This gives you an opportunity to see which kids you can count on, which kids need improvement where. You're just playing games and winning by 40 or 50. You don't get that opportunity, so play each other early on in the season, and that's what Vivian Stringer and Andy Landers do every year. They play one of the best schedules in the country.
And of course, your coach Pat Summit did it while at Tennessee, while you were there, and really forever. Another turnover for Georgia, and they pushed the ball into the front court. So it was the Rutgers defense stepping up to allow them to push ahead. Now Georgia returning the favor. Hardrick foul there. I think they got Heather Zurich. Indeed they did. So Zurich charged with a foul. Rutgers in the penalty. It'll be the double bonus. And 2 shots for Janice Hardrick. A 4-point bulge there. Georgia's attempted 17 free throws to only 6 for Rutgers. But the Scarlet Knights have gone almost 2 minutes without a field goal now. Good job by Hardrick. The lead is 5. The freshman Dee Jernigan into the game. This is Essence Carson handling. The junior from Patterson, New Jersey. Jernigan. Vaughn has it kicked away. And a foul there as Prince fouls Janice Hardrick.
Well, you see Houts, every time the ball goes inside to Kia Vaughn, and she looks to go to work one-on-one in the post, Houts is dropping down from her position there, three-pointer around the free throw area, and she's looking to get her hand on the basketball. So as soon as Kia Vaughn turns her attention, there's Houts with another steal before she had the tie-up. So good job there of doubling down on Kia Vaughn and getting a turnover out of it.
Hardrick makes the first. Janice Hardrick bothered by an upset stomach. Andy Lander's team dressing only 7. And the senior from Powder Springs, Georgia, nails that one. And Hardrick has 13. Andy Lander's team is now up by 7. And Kara, how about Ashley Houts today? First college game, a starter. Amazing.
Well, she's really done everything that Georgia's asked of her, and you see her hitting the long-range shot and driving in, and just a scrappy player on the defensive end, not afraid to hit the floor, and very smart, very tough. I mean, really has all the intangibles you would want in a point guard, and very impressed with her debut. And the scary thing is that she is only a freshman. She's going to get better and better as the season goes along, and this Georgia team will get better and better as the season goes along.
We check out our State Farm game track. Three-pointers, a big part of it for Georgia. Ashley Houts, we talked about. Rutgers, when they have done well, they've established Kia Vaughn in the paint and gotten easy buckets.
When they've done well, they've been able to get the ball inside, and that opens some things up, and that's where you see the counter move by Georgia. Kia Vaughn gets it inside now where Rutgers has been effective. They're going to double down and force it out of her hands.
Prince on the baseline, steps on the baseline, turnover, Georgia basketball. Big turnover with Georgia up 7, 1:27 to go here in Norman. And you see the drop for Vivian Stringer's team. Dara feeds House. Vaughn with the pressure, and the freshman picking up the dribble, flips to Hardrick, the senior. Georgia will slow it down. Jernigan pressuring House. Dara's 3 was down and then bounced out, and now it's Rutgers the other way. Prince spinning into the lane, trying to feed McCurdy. It was a little out of control there. Jump ball, it'll stay Rutgers basketball. One of the rare times we've seen Prince out of control.
Yeah, she looked to attack, and you're trying to make a play. There's about a minute left in the game. You're down 7, and you want to get a quick score for your team so you can set up pressure, and that's what Rutgers needs to do now. Get a quick score, and that'll enable them to set up their defensive press.
Carson, a 3, no good. Good rebound by Prince. The bucket, she's got 14. Rutgers within 5 and a foul there. Houts will go to the line.
Rutgers now charged to number 4.
Double bonus, and Ashley Houts will go to the line to shoot 2. Big advantage for Georgia. 18 free throws to Rutgers 4. Well, make sure you keep it right here on ESPN to our second game of the State Farm Women's Tip-Off Classic. Number 19, DePaul taking on number 3, Oklahoma, and sophomore standout Courtney Paris. ESPN, your exclusive home for the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship. Houts makes them both, and the lead is 7. Carson into the front court. And a nice block there by Angel Robinson. She is fouled. Check that jump ball, and it'll be Georgia basketball.
Well, Epiphany Prince trying to get another quick score for Georgia, but that's 5'8" going against 6'5", and last time I checked, usually 6'5" wins on that one.
Also checking in for Rutgers, number 21, Heather Zurich, replacing McCurdy.
Maya McCurdy will sit down. Long pass for Houts, and the little one able to pull it down. 5'6" against 6'1" Heather Zurich, and she was able to pull it down.
Yeah, I guess you just shot my theory there, John, but she looked like Steve Smith there, you know, undersized guy going up against
Rutgers now charged
the bigger
to number
defensive
10.
backs, and she just goes up and gets it. And so much about basketball is desire, and it's about work ethic, and it's about wanting it more than the player across from you. And I'm willing to bet that there's not going to be a player across from Ashley Houts this season that wants it more than her. And when you have players like that on your team, you have a chance to be very, very successful.
Speaking of Steve Smith, he'll be part of our Monday night game. Carolina taking on Tampa Bay on Monday. So you see the free throw disparity. Georgia trying to salt this one away at the line. Epiphany Prince fouling out of this one. But a nice college debut for the freshman from Brooklyn, New York. Averaged 42 points a game last year, and that national record 113 in a single game. Rutgers by 9. Feed down low. Scoop no good. Vaughn fighting for it. And Kia Vaughn will go to the line. Well, this is the 7th time that Vivian Stringer and Andy Landers had matched up. 3-3 versus one another. And Vivian Stringer now will be 3-4 against fellow Hall of Famer Andy Landers, who went into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame this year.
You can tell there by looking at Vivian Stringer, not very happy with the outcome of this game, and she's a coach that doesn't accept losing, but there are brighter days ahead for Rutgers. I like the makeup of their team. Obviously bringing back Matee Azavon as a primary ball handler will put Essence Carson more on the wing. She's proven that she can score capably this year from that position.
Nicely done, breaking the pressure. Dara to Chambers to Hardrick, and the easy bucket. Georgia by 9. And the air ball there by Carson goes out of bounds. It'll stay Rutgers basketball. Ashley Houts, the freshman. Andy Landers' team shorthanded here today. They dressed only 7. But they are going to win their opener against number 11 Rutgers. Then a travel called on Katie Adams.
Returning to the Rutgers lineup, number 43,
Andy Landers, as they introduced the inductees of the 2006 class of the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, and he was introduced at halftime of this one. We will give you the full list of inductees coming up in Game 2 of our doubleheader. Landers with over 700 wins, and today win number 740 in his career, as Georgia beats Rutgers 78-69, our final score. Well, they were able to really stave off the pressure of the Rutgers Scarlet Knights when they made that little bit of run and settled in, and Ashley Houts was really a huge part of it today.
Oh, just so impressive, the total court game of the freshmen, and this is a Georgia team that's going to be exciting to see. They get their stud back in the paint, and Tasha Humphrey, and then 6 games, and man, they were impressive today.
Freshman outstanding for Vivian Stringer, but the star here today, the freshman for Georgia, who's standing by with Debbie.
Well, guys, how about 4 players in double figures for Georgia, and the leading scorer, 18.7 assists, Ashley Houts. Ashley, how'd you feel your debut was in a Georgia uniform?
I'm just excited to get out here and play, you know. I mean, I've been waiting for this my entire life, and when it comes, it comes. I'm just glad to be out here and play with my teammates.
You guys shorthanded 7 players, but without your All-American Tasha Humphrey, what kind of statement does this game say about your team?
You know, we're Georgia. You know, we don't rely, you know, directly on one person, but we're not Georgia for not a reason, you know. So we pulled through tonight.
Rutgers is as quick a backcourt as you may see all season. How do you think you handle their pressure?
For the first game, decent. You know, we're going to see pressure every single game, so it's just a good preparation and a good first game for us.
Actually, congratulations. Good luck as you move on. John?
All right, Debbie. Once again, our final score, Georgia 78, Rutgers 69. And we'll see you back here in a little while for Game 2 of the State Farm Tip-Off Classic, DePaul at Oklahoma. But for now, we'll head back to the studio. And standing by here, Scott Reese alongside Stacey Dales. Guys?
right, John, thanks very much. Scott Reese and Stacey Dales with you on this special between-game edition of College Game Night. And Stacey, a solid opener in the State Farm Tip-Off Classic between Rutgers and Georgia. In case you missed any of it, let's give you a snippet of what went down in Norman, Oklahoma. Early on, both teams shooting the ball well. Corey Chambers spots up for three from the right wing.
Well, she's the leader on this team, and she's carried this team through the struggles, losing Tasha Humphrey. And then Rutgers, of course, responds. Essence Carson was big the entire game, Scott.
And a one-point game at the half. Christy Marshall with the lay-in off glass. Georgia up by 4. The Bulldogs began the second half on an 8-0 run. Epiphany Price, how good is this freshman?
Well, she scored here, but the reason they did it was because of that pressure man-to-man defense, that 55 full-court pressure, and they continued to respond, and that's her getting blocked, but because Georgia responded defensively.
Angel Robinson with the rejection, and really free throws decided this one down the stretch, and a 78-69 victory for Georgia. Stacey, what was the difference in the second half of this game?
I just think defense is really always the difference in a close battle. And I talked to Andy Landers on Friday. He said, I've never had a team like this. In all my years coaching, I've had 5 players come off of surgery from injury. I've lost my best player in Tasha Humphrey to a suspension. So what do? I got to coach a little bit harder. They used the zone. Andy Landers doesn't want to play a zone. He wants to play man-to-man pressure defense, but he's willing to sacrifice, settles into this little 2-3 matchup. It really flustered the youth of Rutgers the entire game, and Houts was tremendous. Her work ethic and the leadership she showed is great promise for this Georgia squad, and I really think that using that zone early is going to save some energy, is going to save those legs, and give them a chance to win games early in the pre-conference.
Well, this really shouldn't remove any of the luster from what is a tremendous sports landscape right now at Rutgers. Stacey, with the football team up to number 7 in the country this week in the AP poll, begs the question, which is a better squad, Rutgers football or Rutgers women's basketball?
Well, I mean, Scott, this is apples and oranges, football and basketball. But if you're going to ask me that question, I'm going to say the football team. I mean, the notoriety they're getting with their squad. And last Thursday, there's Greg Schiano. Last Thursday, they compete against Louisville in an unbelievable, charismatic comeback with their defense. I think if there's 2 parallels to these teams, it's the defense. But Vivian C. Stringer was on in the first half talking with our telecast. I think that brings notoriety to her team, and, you know, it really